Oh, and I know I sent out, tagged some people, and if you're making them, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay too, because I know everybody's busy this weekend and still enjoying and celebrating the holidays, which is what we're doing today, which is day two. Day two of what? Kwanzaa. Day two. Day two, December 27th. The red candle to the left of the black candle celebrates uh, Kwanzaa Day 2 is lit. So today, the red candle to the left of the black candle will be lit. Now, Day 2, this is a this is a hard one for me. Um, so I'm open to anything. But and I probably will not pronounce it correctly to the satisfaction of some people, but that's okay. Um, Kujichagulia, self determination, focuses on defining oneself, naming oneself, creating for oneself, and speaking for oneself, emphasizing taking control of one's destiny, fostering cultural pride, and building a strong community identity, reflecting on personal and collective power to shape their future and express, and I like this, their authentic selves. I think that this is very hard for Black, African Americans, Brown, um, because how do we do it? We have been taken from our own, and um, we have been defined by outside sources, society. We have been called Black Americans, we've been called African American, we've been called Blacks, Negro, Colored, and some other choice names. But those have been names that have been given to us. So when it says to define and name and speak oneself, I mean, that is why I have been seeing so many people post about taking control, accepting who they are, because we as a people, we have to struggle because we have been forced to be something that was not authentic. We were taken and brought to a land and not even considered to be human beings. We have been bought, we have been sold, we have been lynched, we have been beaten, we have been everything controlled, we have been called and named by someone else. So how do we become, what is our authentic self? And I think that's the reason why we have so much struggle. And then because of it, and when I say we, Black folks, brown folks, African American, whatever you want to say, um, we are suffering and we are so traumatized, and we have such mental health problems, and because we have an identity crisis. It's hard to define us. How it's hard for us to define ourselves. And so I'm like, okay, this is how. And I even sent a note to the individual who designed or who started this Kwanzaa, and, and I asked him, how would this be number two? And day one is unity. And I find it kind of I'm not sure what the word is, but I find it kind of not so much as difficult, but confusing to have unity, but then you define who you are. How can you do that? How can you have unity and not know who you are? Should not this be day two? Mean the most and be the most important, so shouldn't it be day one? Because without knowing who you are, to me, how can I grab unity with a community that I'm not sure if that's the community that I want to be? Is it just because of my color that makes me be part of that community? Um, it says that when I looked at the candle lighting, the purpose, illuminating the red candle symbolizes the struggle and the commitment to overcome it through self-determination definition. So I'm going to say, illuminating the red candle is what symbolizes the struggle and the commitment to overcome it through self-definition. But we are so confused that, and not knowing what is our own self definition. I hear people saying all the time, and I mean, this probably has to do with the election is part of it, but I hear and see people posting continuously each and every day. Some of the people who when I say as a community, think are the most strongest in self-awareness, from people who we don't think are very strong, or we think they are weak. But not everybody, so many people out there are writing and saying, I'm finding myself. I'm happy with myself. So are they happy with yourself? Because how do you do that? How do you find, because do we know who our real self is? And I know that some people have gone through therapy or currently going through therapy. But it's hard. How do you define self when our self was taken away from us? Our identity was taken from us. And everything that we are today is what another culture or someone else has taught us to be. So when we say we have accepted or we are so, I'm some days I'm real good, and then there's a few days that little weakness kind of tips in there, and I'm like, oh, nope, 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 not going down that road. No, not today. It may not be the best, but it is enough to get me through. So every day, in my first thoughts when I get up, and I don't want to get real religious or preachy or that, my spiritual being, my first thought is, I am thankful for who I am, and I am thankful who has allowed me to wake up and see this day. Now, it's like I say, some days I'm on top of it, and then some days are not. And I don't feel like I have the right to condemn anyone who questions their own identity or their self. And I feel like I praise and commend those who seek help in trying to decide who they are, because I believe in that I am not going to allow someone else to dictate who I am, how I feel. I may not say it right, I may not do it right, but I'm doing it to the best of my ability. And I try to, and that's the reason why it says self-determination. I believe that we have to work at that and not be ashamed if we don't feel like we hit the mark. Because every day, and people who say they can make it through I don't believe that, because there's so much that we as individuals, and particularly women, we have always had to be for what someone else felt we had to be, whether it be our family, our loved ones, um, our uh, um, employer, our children, what we've had. So it is hard. And I think that's the reason why there are so many individuals who are seeking aid and help. And sometimes I think we seek from wrong. But I also understand how we can, because it's hard to be able to do what we do each and every day. And when I hear and I see people and I post and they say, today I'm going to be happy. I'm happy for me. And I'm like, yes, girlfriend, do it. Yes. Yes. That's what it's all about, is being happy, being loved. And there's, I can remember sometimes before I got married, and I was blessed to be able to own my own home and everything. And some people say, well, don't you get lonely in that house? And I'm like, no, because I understand what loneliness is, and I understand what being alone is. And there's a difference. Now, I got you thinking, there's a difference. You're right. There is a difference. And so women, and particularly, and I have to go back, Black women, we have learned, we have been taught, we have been beat down, we've been built up, we've been all of those things, and we still come. And I love when it says, but I rise. I rise. You may be down, but you get back up. I always think, and I know you've heard me and you're probably tired of hearing me, but I don't really care whether you do that. If you don't like it, don't listen. But I always think of so much my grandmother. Uh, she was the big mama of the neighborhood, wise. It wasn't that she had all the degrees behind her name, but she had that CS. She had that common sense. And she always would talk, and I'd be listening. Now, sometimes she'd tick me off. I didn't let her know it, but sometimes, but I always listened. And I found that throughout my life, many of the things that she was saying, those things are what came, those things came back. And it made me think. Before I made a decision, I could hear that little voice saying, now, all right, baby girl. And I can hear our number 4 son saying sometimes when he talks about his daughter, okay, baby girl. And those things. And I'm like, where did he get that from? So, I love this one. Self-determination. It demands, it doesn't ask, it doesn't encourage, it demands that we begin to define our own self. We defend ourselves and we develop ourselves. And if we continue to do that, we will have honored the second day of Kwanzaa. I got a couple of people here. Thank you for commenting. I like to see you on. Thank you very much for joining. And I love your comments. And thank you. I love my little headscarf, girl. That's one of my baby girls right there. That real. That girl is something else, boy. And I want to tell her so everybody can hear this now. She's expecting, and she's expecting a girl. I want you to listen to this real good. So when you're thinking of that baby girl, just remember it's called payback. Gotcha. But you'll make a fantastic mother for baby girl. So I'm not going to keep anybody from being on here too long. I just wanted to get the point out. Today is day 2 with the Lord's blessing. I will be here for day 3 tomorrow. And I have no idea what time. But I think number 2 is one of the most important days of Kwanzaa. That's one of my personal opinions. And although it is hard, it's what we live in. It's called life. So whether we call ourselves African Americans, Black Africans, or Blacks, or Negroes, or colored, or whatever we call ourselves, that is our decision and our choice. And those that don't like it, deal with it. So have a happy Kwanzaa, second day. See you tomorrow.